Ag Appreciation Week is in March. We actually are going to celebrate it a Tuesday to a Tuesday.
The first thing that you notice are like the open landscapes, and most of those are working lands.
In a place where you wouldn't assume that we would have fresh veggies during the winter, we now do.
Well, if you've never heard about the sourdough chocolate chip cookies, then you should go to Yampa Valley Foods immediately.
Welcome to our episode with the Community Agriculture Alliance. Today we are going to talk about something that touches everybody in our community, the land, the food, and the people who care for both of those in the Yampa Valley. So I am joined by two fabulous people from the Community Ag Alliance. If you want to introduce yourselves.
Sure. Thanks, Jess. I am Amber Pougiales, and I'm the Executive Director of the organization.
And I'm Katie Stanhope. I am the Yampa Valley Foods Program Director. Thanks for having us.
When you guys reached out, I felt like there was a huge impact that you do have on our community that I don't know that everybody knows. So Amber, if I could ask you first, just tell us a little bit about the Ag Alliance and what it does here in the Yampa Valley for us.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I think you hit it on the head there. Agriculture is a huge defining piece of what makes the Yampa Valley so special. And the Community Agriculture Alliance has been around for 27 years. We were originally formed by a group of agricultural producers who really wanted to ensure that agriculture remained viable in the Yampa Valley and that the voice of agricultural producers was heard. And so we have grown over the past 27 years, and we now have 3 primary program areas that are all interconnected, and they're working to strengthen the agricultural community and create deeper community connections. And the work is really, it's broad, and so I do like to think about it as those 3 interconnected pieces that kind of all work together. And one of the pieces that most people are most familiar with is the Yampa Valley Foods program, and that is a program that is a marketplace, but also a broad food system development effort. So you can go into Yampa Valley Foods and shop local products, and we are also working behind the scenes to make agriculture and that direct input into our regional food systems more viable for our producers. And then we have our Ag Resources program, which is really where we meet agriculture on the ground. Our agricultural producers have a really big role to play in stewarding our region's natural resources and in maintaining the open spaces that make Steamboat and Routt County so special. And so we are meeting them where they are working and trying to bring more resources to them, supporting them with project implementation, and even supplementing with grant funds when we can.
Okay.
And then the last arm is our education and outreach piece, and that's really what ties it all together. And that is the effort of us getting out into the community, creating opportunities for the broader community to connect with agriculture and to learn kind of like this.
I feel like you're covering every single element there is, like whether you want to be a producer, you want to volunteer, like you want to go get groceries, there's kind of everything there that I don't know everyone is truly using that. So I think it's amazing. I'm excited to, kind of educate our community a little bit more on everything that you're offering. So thank you. That's amazing. Katie, for new or prospective residents, what does a strong local food system and agriculture network say about the quality of life here in Steamboat and kind of the Yampa Valley in general?
I think kind of like Amber touched on, when you come down Rabbit Ears, the first thing that you notice are like the open landscapes, and most of those are working lands, and those are ranches, and those are people that are either raising food or growing grass for other people to raise the food that we're eating. And I think for the most part, Steamboat and Routt County do a really good job of trying to keep like agriculture heritage alive. Think like, the mountain does the cowboy downhill, Winter Carnival incorporates like ski touring, and those things keep that piece of this valley alive. But one thing that's really, I think, special about this community that not everywhere it does have is the ability to connect so directly with food and food producers. when I lived in Fort Collins, I worked on different farms, and they have a really robust local food system, but it still didn't feel quite as connected as it does here. And so I think for people that are thinking about moving here or that have just moved here, like I said, that first piece of just like seeing the land and being, kind of in awe and that drawing people in is one piece, but then getting to meet the people that are actually on those lands and that are contributing to their plates makes a huge difference in the quality of life here.
There's something to be said about, when the person who, basically provided the meal on your plate, and exactly where it came from, and exactly like how everything basically goes from land to plate. And I'm sure you guys have like a fun saying of how you like translate that, but it's just, it's not something we think about every day, but I think there's a big like cherished piece to that. So.
Yeah, just to respond to that a little bit, one thing that I think is so incredible about the Yampa Valley Foods Marketplace, you can walk in there and ask Katie or any of our sales associates about a product on the shelves, and they can tell you the first and last name of the person who produced it, where in the valley they live, what kind of stewardship practices they carry out on their land, and likely where the animal was processed and packaged as well. So you can have full transparency into the products that you're eating.
Yeah. And I mean, you never know. Could be your neighbor.
Yeah.
Our next question, there is an upcoming celebration, which I'm sure everybody at the Ag Alliance is involved in some capacity, and that's in March. So what's the vision behind Ag Appreciation Week, and why do you think it's so important to the community?
Ag Appreciation Week is in March. We actually are going to celebrate it a Tuesday to a Tuesday. So it's the 17th through the 24th, and it culminates on Ag Appreciation Day, which actually is a national recognized holiday.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
So we're bringing it to the Valley, and it's an important time for us to bring everybody together to provide greater recognition for the role that agriculture plays in stewarding our natural resources, in building community, and in bringing food to our plates. We've got a lot of planning going on.
March 17th. Yeah. That'll be amazing. I think there's a lot, obviously that you guys are doing and going to be putting into that. So we'll be excited to support you in that for sure. Can you walk us through some of the events during the week and just like what the community can expect, how they can be involved or how they can support?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a busy week. Like I said, we're deep in planning right now, but we have a range of events. So during that week, we are going to have 3 community gatherings, and those are really focused at bringing our resources and our partners to the ag community. So we're going to have one in South Route, one in Hayden, and one up in North Route. And that's an opportunity for anybody in agriculture to come and access the resources available to them in one location at a time of year when they maybe aren't so busy. Yeah. And we're coming to them. There will also be a free meal and hopefully an opportunity to connect with your neighbor during that as well.
Cool.
And then on Friday, I guess that's the 20th, we are going to host an Ag Appreciation Night at Stars Ranch. And during that evening, we will have the inaugural Land and Legacy Awards. But that night is not just for the awards, it's a celebration. We'll have live music and libations, so hoping that the community can come out and celebrate alongside us. And then moving into the weekend, we have a screening at Wild Horse that is still a little bit in the works, but it will be an opportunity to learn a little bit more about regenerative agriculture and what that looks and feels like in Northwest Colorado. A lot of what we hear about regenerative ag is in places around the country that get a lot more rain and have longer growing seasons. So we're trying to take that application and see what it looks like here. And then just to end the week, we do have, which is a Tuesday, the 24th, we have an ag breakfast. It's kind of a grab-and-go style at Yampa Valley Foods, an opportunity for people to come in to the marketplace, pick up some goods, but also interact with some of our regional producers and grab breakfast before work.
Oh, cool. That'll be great. Yeah. Right downtown.
Right downtown,
yeah.
11th
Awesome.
and Lincoln. to be fully transparent, the date range is really just so that we can make sure that we are giving equal opportunity to participate to the entire county. Sirocco, so South Route, and the Hayden school districts are on spring break that second week.
Yes.
So we want to capture them in the week before.
Yeah, well, that's very thoughtful of you guys. Can you tell me what inspired creating the Land and Legacy Awards? Just kind of elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, so it is the first year that we will be doing these awards, and it's going to be an opportunity for us to give recognition to our agricultural community that is really leading the charge in land stewardship, in food production, or in bringing up the next generation. There's a lot that happens out on these open lands, and there's not always a ton of opportunities to see what is happening and to celebrate what is happening. So we are going to be looking to the community to nominate folks. So that form will go out starting this week. So if you see it circulate, feel free to nominate someone who you think is worthy. And yeah, just to really bring to light some of these efforts that are going on.
Okay. You said next generation. Is there like an age kind of bracket as you're giving the awards? Because I just love seeing like the kids out there. I think when you say next generation, it's so important that the kids are understanding that just with, certain households get so stuck on screen time, and then it's like, well, we have all this land. Is there an opportunity for the kids to go out and to be working and educating themselves on, how the agriculture organization works?
Yeah, so we're thinking of that category in two ways. One, if there is somebody who is in that younger generation who is really doing something worthy of celebrating, we would love to receive some of those nominations. And then also thinking about how some of our multi-generational families are preparing to pass on their legacy and their business to the next generation. It is a really hard thing to do in Northwest Colorado. And really throughout a lot of the country. And so to put in the effort early on in your personal career to make sure that it is available for your children if they want to take it over it requires a lot of foresight.
Sure.
And so taking a look at some of those efforts and helping to share those with others in the community who might want to do the same thing for their children.
Cool. I like the opportunity at least being there, for them. It's always... Yeah, feels good. Katie, if you wouldn't mind sharing a story about a producer or a project that maybe embodies one of these awards.
There are a lot of producers, I would say, that deserve recognition in any one of these three categories. Amber touched on like that mentorship and generational piece. There are producers in the area that are bringing in mentees from elsewhere that are maybe not in their family, right? Through other organizations that provide sort of like a fellowship program, right? So they're introducing agriculture to folks that maybe don't have any background or any hands-on experience in agriculture. So there are producers in the area that are actively trying to bridge that gap in that way. But then there are also producers that are working really hard to get their product to this community and to the outside community. Sarah Jane of Snowden Meats comes to mind.
Yep.
She has worked her butt off to get her products to bring consistency and quality to her product and to the valley that not necessarily that we don't always have, right? We have a short growing season. We're limited in resources. Processors are far away generally, and she's truly taken some big strides to make sure that we can eat local beef almost year round.
Yeah. I think we interviewed them on site and did a whole tour of the ranch, and it was so fascinating, and just how much the family is involved, and then just honestly how much they produce.
Totally.
Again, for our small community, they're cranking. So that's impressive.
Yeah, they've been great. They've prioritized, the Valley and Yampa Valley Foods as well as a marketplace to sell their product. But they've also, they offer delivery and shipping of their product. So I've had people come in to the market from Florida that have had Snowden meat.
And they know.
And they know.
Yeah.
So that's really
They
cool.
know where to get the good stuff. Why is recognizing local producers and innovators important for the community's like economy, and just kind of speak to that?
Amber, do you want to start?
Sure. The reason that we decided to create this award is because we have the great opportunity of meeting all of these families, all of these producers who are working so hard to bring local food to the community, to break down those barriers that make it difficult for local food to come to our plates, who are stewarding our natural resources and being innovative with natural resource stewardship techniques to prepare them for climate change and drier seasons that continue, like the one that we are currently in. And we get to talk to people who are working hard to fight for the Yampa Valley and the community that has long defined this place. And so it has become transparent over the past year and a half that I've been with the organization that these individuals deserve that recognition for the efforts that they are putting out. And there are awards in other areas, and there are opportunities for people in other sectors of our community and of our economy to get out in front of the broader community, but that doesn't really exist for our agricultural community. So I thought it was time that we shed some light on all of these efforts and bring them forth to the community.
Yeah. Go ahead, Katie.
I think that like recognizing these people, like any award, it gives you the confidence and the encouragement to keep doing what you're doing. And I think generally speaking, agriculture can be kind of isolating, and being a producer is really isolating. It can be.
Sure.
And so offering producers the recognition tells them that the community sees what they're doing, and gives them that, like I said, that kind of boost of like, I want to keep doing this.
Right, because, just I guess because they're the ones that are, outside of city limits, doesn't mean that they can't get the same benefits of, selling their products to the locals and to the people who may not spend time outside of city limits and out in the county and, out in our more rural parts of the county. So I just love that, there are opportunities to be able to physically know them. I think that's a big deal because we were always saying, support local businesses. And that's not just the businesses that are, down Lincoln, down Yampa, or anything up at the resort. They are local businesses just as much as anybody else in our county. So, yeah, I love that. How does Yampa Valley Foods connect residents to locally grown food, and why does that matter just beyond taste?
Yeah, like Amber said, anyone can come into the market and shop from a variety of different products. We've grown over the last couple of years from working with right around 30 to 40 producers in 2021, 2022. And to last year, we ended working with over 100 producers.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a huge jump.
Totally.
It's a big jump.
Yeah. So, big lift. Which shows that producers in the area want to participate in the program and that consumers want to enjoy local products. I think that it goes beyond taste in the sense that, that connection, that knowing that person, knowing, where they're from and where they raise their product and how they do it, and maybe even knowing their children or their family, builds a much deeper connection than going to, your traditional grocery store and just grabbing whatever you need, not thinking twice about it. You can kind of shop based on your values and what's important to you, and you can prioritize those things at Yampa Valley Foods and kind of within our local food system.
Katie really nails it there. But just at the surface level too, there's not a lot of opportunities to connect with agriculture. Obviously, it's something that defines our region visibly. And those open spaces are something that we find so important in the Yampa Valley. But food is a really easy way to connect, and anybody can go to the grocery store, right? So while it might be challenging for you to show up to a ranch tour or to one of our events, when you are in town, you can make the effort to show up and buy local food. And so it's a really easy point of entry for connection to agriculture.
Yeah, I like that. It makes it feel not so daunting, because like you said, not everybody has the time to be going out to the ranches and do a full tour. I mean, as amazing as that is and would be, I've done a few, but there's also something to be said when you're just entertaining and you've gotten everything locally. Your friends are still going to come over. They're still going to enjoy the food. So I always love connecting over food, but when there's a story behind it like that, it's a little more impactful.
Right.
Yeah. So Katie, I'll ask you on this. Any favorite local flavors or success stories that have become community staples?
Well, if you've never heard about the sourdough chocolate chip cookies, then you should go to Yampa Valley Foods immediately. Like I said, we work with, close to 100 different producers and they all bring a variety of products to the market. Obviously folks raise, there's a lot of protein in the area. You see a lot of beef and lamb and pork and whatnot. But we have a wide array of, baked goods and breads and jams and honeys and things like that. Lately, like I said, the sourdough chocolate chip cookies have been a hit. People call us and they ask us if they're there.
Yeah.
But we have, a new producer that just joined us that's bringing organically fed pasture-raised chicken eggs to the market, and those have been a huge hit.
Okay.
Anything else that you can think of that people are always talking about? Those are the two big ones right now.
I mean, I feel like you kind of give it away on cookies. Who's going to be upset and go, oh, no, thank you?
I know.
I think one thing that has grown a lot over the past year and that people are often surprised about is the amount of produce that we carry. We have a handful of producers who have been working really hard to extend their seasons with greenhouses and heated greenhouses. And so in a place where you wouldn't assume that we would have fresh veggies during the winter, we now do. And when we don't have them directly from the Yampa Valley, Katie is able to work with more regional producers to get them in. So I think that's something that has been a big success. When we have greens, they are gone. People want local greens. Yeah.
And do you find that there's much of a seasonality with the produce? It's kind of that goes along with what season we're in. If you want to speak to, the seasonality of fresh produce.
I think that's an important piece of the local food system, the hyper-local food system especially, is recognizing that there is seasonality, right? We're not always going to have fresh arugula and fresh spinach on the shelf. And that's okay, right? We're trying to build a more consistent market, and so we are working with regional producers to get some of those products on the shelves when we can't. But we're used to grabbing whatever we want, whenever we want. And I think that that's a huge blessing. But it's also important to recognize that you can't always get what you want in a hyper local food system. And Amber said it wonderfully that our producers are working really hard to build up infrastructure and increase their labor force so that they can provide us with some of that stuff more year round, but it's still hard.
Yeah.
We have a short growing season.
Yeah. What is our growing season? Just for someone who,
Ooh,
I can barely keep a flower alive.
It's really short.
Yeah, it's really short.
I think, 56.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and it depends where you're at in the valley. We have folks who are a little bit further west who have a longer growing season, and then folks who are closer to the mountains here, it's a little bit shorter. But to what Katie was saying, if you want greens in February, we have different braising greens that you can come and enjoy, and there are different ways to get your greens in. So it is that adapting to your regional climate and eating a little bit more locally. It has a sustainability component as well. So if you are trying to be environmentally conscious, this is a good way to do it.
Well, it's good to always broaden your palate too. You know, you may have no idea and Little did you know you could buy it at a local store from, someone who's grown it right here in the valley, and you've never even seen it before.
It can be a fun challenge to just walk around and say, okay, this is the local food option of the day. What am I going to make for dinner?
Right. That'd be a fun little exercise. For someone new to the area or interested in getting involved, like what are kind of some of their easiest ways to participate that you would kind of elaborate on?
So with Yampa Valley Food specifically, the easiest way would first to start shopping. We do encourage the community to purchase a membership, and that's their sort of financial contribution and their show of support for that program specifically. So that's a big one. We do offer members certain benefits and recognize their support with, member exclusive promotions and things like that. But additionally, people can volunteer. We offer, volunteer hours at Yampa Valley Foods to help us with like product receiving and getting stuff out on the shelves. And that's a really fun way for community members to see like what we do behind the scenes and to meet producers.
Right.
They get to work kind of in our receiving area, so they do see a lot of people come in and out on a weekly basis, which is kind of cool.
And is that at the store downtown specifically?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
And then we do, we host a variety of events throughout the year, and there's always volunteer opportunities there as well.
Okay. And you guys do a newsletter, like a monthly newsletter that's got all sorts of, information on it and ways to volunteer. So if you are interested in, getting the monthly newsletter, I think that's a great way to stay connected
Totally.
with, what's going on and how to be involved. Yeah. Let's see. What are some fun perks for joining CAA in 2026?
So in 2026, we are offering members, like I said, member exclusive promotions. So this is in partnership with our producers, showing our members that we value their support of this program by offering them monthly discounts on specific products. So right now we're offering discounts on honey. There's lots of meat that's on sale. We have, let's see, what else do we have? We have some like treats that are on, like Valentine's Day treats that are on sale. Yeah, so that's a big one. We did, thanks to Cassie, we do have custom stickers this year by Jessica Barker, a local artist in town.
Oh, cool.
She worked really hard with her to sort of encapsulate everything that we do and that, is kind of going on in the Valley in these really cool stickers. And then she also created some new totes this year that will be rolling out here pretty soon. In addition to that, you mentioned the newsletter. Members that, or people that decide to become a member do get subscribed to our Yampa Valley Foods has a weekly newsletter. So they'll get firsthand information on new producers and new products, events and opportunities to become involved. And then what else? We have events that they get to come to first.
Yeah, I think one of our most coveted opportunities to engage is our farm to table dinners.
Oh, yes.
And they sell out pretty quickly. So one of the big perks with the memberships is that our members receive a little bit of a notice ahead of everybody else.
Opening up to the public.
Yeah,
there.
that those tickets are going on sale, and they have that opportunity to purchase tickets ahead of time. And we do 4 of those a year. So that's a big perk as well.
Do you do them like one a quarter, or do you kind of get a little more, exposure in the summer?
We're a little more summer and fall centric, just because that is when there is a little bit broader option of food, as well as venue opportunities.
Sure.
So people can sit outside, we can have more folks that way, and oftentimes with residents, that's an easier time to capture them.
Sure. That sounds nice. We did one at Yampatika's barn a long time ago and thoroughly enjoyed, so that was really nice. Yeah. How do you see agriculture, land stewardship, and local food systems shaping the next 5 to 10 years in the Yampa Valley?
I think that we are in a time where there's a lot of momentum for these things. And it's pretty incredible to be with the organization right now. My predecessors laid a strong foundation for the organization, and we are now operating in a time and place where we have this beautiful marketplace. We have done the legwork and fundraising to really build up our agricultural resources program and to support landowners in their land stewardship efforts. And we have a community that is generally a little bit more engaged in local food and in land stewardship. I think there is a lot of focus on our natural resources right now. With our drier summers and drier winters, we need to figure out how to sustain our economy and our community with less. And so our producers are playing a big role in that, and finding ways to not only support them, but to provide them with some exposure and recognition for those efforts is part of what the Community Ag Alliance is doing. And so I see all of these things really coming to a head right now. And I think the next 5 to 10 years will show a big growth in local food, as well as engagement with the agricultural community and hopefully support for the ag community as well.
Yeah, it does feel like we're in a time of, like you said, a lot of growth. And I think the next 5 to 10 years will be really pivotal for us. So it's exciting. Yeah. How can residents, especially new homeowners, participate in sustaining the local agriculture economy?
Yeah, I think it really depends what type of home or property somebody buys. But if they are living mountainside, like Katie said, go to the market, experience local food, check out our event offerings. We have opportunities to get onto working ranches and to talk with producers and to pet baby lambs and to share a meal with some multi-generation Yampa Valley families. And so that's a really cool opportunity to get connected and to start to feel rooted in this community. Sure. If you find yourself a new landowner and you have 35 plus acres here in Routt County or in Northwest Colorado, we have opportunities for education. So we offer an annual land stewardship class, and that is kind of the broad sweep of the resources that are available here in Northwest Colorado to you as a new landowner, as you are figuring out how to grow hay or to fix fence or manage your landscape in a way that is going to see you into the future. So we have those educational resources. And if you're not sure where to start, you can always just shoot us an email. That's a really easy way to figure out where you might belong in this whole sphere.
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot to, I think, be connected. And, I would never want someone to just be like overwhelmed by all of it. And that's the reason why they don't reach out when, we do have so many resources. It's all just a matter of connecting the dots, and then, they may become some of your best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lastly, so what's one surprising thing that people might not know about local agriculture or maybe the work that the Ag Alliance is doing?
Sure. I'm sure Katie has some, but I think a lot of people are aware of Yampa Valley foods. Whether or not they have found the time to come in and to shop local is one thing, but I think most people now have heard of it, and they know that there is a spot in town where they can buy food from the valley. One thing that we do that I think most people are not familiar with is we help landowners acquire grant funds for their land stewardship projects. A lot of those land stewardship projects in recent years have been water infrastructure projects, and those are high dollar projects. They're not an easy lift for a team to get done, let alone an individual landowner. So through those efforts, we've injected hundreds of thousands of dollars into the community through state and federal funds that go directly on the ground for natural resource stewardship. So that's, a fun area to get to work in.
Yeah.
Within the local food program specifically, I think you'll start to see local food sort of just kind of in more spaces, right? We're working with the high school to get them to use local beef, and with their natural resources program, they're selling their product at Yampa Valley Foods. We're trying to work with other like larger community events and encouraging them to seek us for local food procurement. So that you can easily enjoy the products that are grown and raised here, without even really thinking about it. So we're doing a lot of work, like I said, to kind of make it more normal, and make it easy for people.
Right. I mean, I think just getting the store downtown was a big push. And I know you had the spot before a couple blocks down, but this one, I don't know. I don't know if it's more marketing or what, but I'm seeing it so much more, and I think it is on a lot more people's radar to go there. And when someone says, I want to buy local, they're not just going to the major supermarkets. They're going, right into downtown. They're going into the Yampa Valley Foods, and they're finding everything they need there. So.
Yeah, and it's cool because it's gone further than just individuals or families. Like restaurants have reached out to us, caterers, like I said, people that are hosting larger community events, institutions. They're starting to seek us as a resource for those products and as a connection to, to agriculture, which is really cool.
Yeah. Well, I love the exposure that, you guys have just throughout the community. I think there's, like I said, there's just a big impact. As we kind of wrap up, is there anything that you want to mention or anything that you would like, everyone to know that the Ag Alliance has available to really anyone?
I think the biggest thing that we have available is that connection and that sense of community, even from like a staff standpoint, right? Most people that come in the door know the person that's working up at the front. And I think that's really special because it doesn't feel like a grocery store. It feels like more of a community space, right? We're providing, that connection to the producer, but also we have really strong connections to our members and our shoppers. And I think that's really special about Yampa Valley Foods and not something that you get everywhere. So I
agree.
like that about it.
Yeah.
I like to say that our work is advancing agriculture and cultivating community. And so to residents, to people who are new to the Valley, I would just say show up. I had the wonderful privilege of getting to grow up in Steamboat Springs, and I think what makes this place so special is the community and the open landscapes. And community is built through connections. So show up to events, show up to the local marketplace, show up for your neighbor, be a part of this community, and it will give back to you.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I really appreciate, honestly, all the education and just your time telling us all about the Ag Alliance and, how you're involved in our community. So I just appreciate you guys being here today.
Thank you. This was fun.
Of course.